loves, welcome back to TigeraGitana. Today we're going to be talking about the lunar eclipse in Capricorn that is happening on the 5th, which is tomorrow. And we're going to be going the astrological aspects of this eclipse and the main things that you really should be focusing on. So looking at the chart itself, especially because the moon is already in Capricorn right now as we're speaking, there are 5 planets in Capricorn right now. So there is a stellium in Capricorn. There are 6 retrogrades happening: Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, and the North Node, which is in Gemini, is also in retrograde. So there are a lot of, definitely the past is definitely highlighted, but because a lot of the planets that are in Capricorn, most of them are in retrograde, there's kind of a lot to focus on. We have Lilith in Aries and Chiron in Aries, and it's definitely doing a lot for us collectively, especially moving forward, what we're manifesting, what we're going to do, what the energy surrounding this eclipse is. Now, if you saw my weekly healing circle this week, you know, we talked a little bit of the main aspects, including the first one being the sun opposing the moon. This was kind of like the opposite effect of what it was when the solar eclipse in Cancer came through earlier in the season. Now the sun is opposing the moon, which really brings a lot of friction to what our ego and our emotions are doing. So there is kind of like this battle between our inner child and our emotional state right now, which is really affects how we nurture ourselves, because it's like the sun, which is in Cancer, and the moon, which is in Capricorn, are kind of like saying, hey, which one, like what are you, how are you going to address this? Are you going to address this from your heart, from your chest, or are you going to try to kind of detach from your emotions and just pick and choose what it is that you want to address overall? It can cause a lot of conflicts, so just be mindful when it comes to dealing with family and the way you're talking to them. That did come out in the readings, because I did pull some cards for this eclipse for us. It definitely can lead to some, you know, weird interactions with our family members. We might kind of lash out emotionally, just because our ego is getting triggered a certain way, or maybe if somebody, especially if they bring up your past or childhood, like, oh, you used to be like this when you were young, or something like that. It can bring some friction, in the energy of friction, because then you're just like, you know what, that's when I was young, why are you still bringing that up? Like, you know, it could just kind of be like, I grew up, like, can you stop bringing this up every time I see you? Can you just, you know, like, all of these type of things. It does bring some like head-to-head energy, so just be mindful of that. The sun is conjuncting Mercury, and Mercury is in Cancer, and this is gonna give you like a very kind of smooth communication when it comes to what you are saying. So with the sun opposing the moon, your emotions will definitely be triggered by your ego, but the way you communicate it, it's gonna be smooth. It's gonna be like, well, it's gonna come through a sense of like the way that Cancer nourishes, and also recognizing your own nourishment as well. So the tricky part of this is, again, the micro traumas, which I always mention when it comes to Cancers and Cancer season, because y'all know that micro traumas are like the weakness of a Cancer, because they can hold on to things from ages ago and then not release them and continue to hold on for forever. So you have to be mindful of how you're communicating, and if you are communicating micro traumas. But because it's in a conjunction, I do feel like you'll be expressing yourself a little bit more freely. You'll be able to communicate very well. And if you are sharing your emotions and how somebody has treated you, you should be able to heal from those issues through this connection here. So I do hope that you guys use this well. It is a really nice placement when it comes to kind of saying exactly what you need to say, but also exactly what somebody else needs to hear, because it is coming from a place of nourishment. Mercury in Cancer is always nourishing the other person unless it is misused as an aspect. So the sun is also squaring Mars on this. Mars, which is in Aries right now. So the sun, which is in Cancer, cardinal sign, is squaring, fighting, having beefs with Mars, which is in Aries. And this is not necessarily the funnest thing to kind of deal with, because that's like emotion and fire. It's like fire and water, like which one is going to win? Is one going to put out the other? Is the fire not, like, is there not, is going to be enough water to put out the fire? Like, you have to, these questions need to be answered, and it depends on the situation at hand. But this can trigger a lot of good things if you use it well. It can, because the sun squaring Mars is a really good placement to get you going, to get you working, to say, oh, you know what, especially when it comes to any physical goals that you have for yourself, like working out and stuff like that. If you set the intention for that during this eclipse, it will, you will start getting fired up about it, because it's just, there's this push to your ego that Mars brings, that it's like, oh, you're saying that you're gonna do something, well, I don't see you doing it. And it's almost like you're challenging yourself, and you even might get put in situations where you're communicating with friends or something, you're like, well, I don't see you doing it, and you'll just be like, your ego will be like, you know what, bet you gonna catch me in a month and you gonna see how I look like, basically. So it does kind of, you know, it can make you a little bit impulsive, so be mindful, but be aware of how this energy can play out with you, because it does give you a little bit of a push, a little bit of an edge. And because the sun, moon, and Mars are in cardinal signs, it does emphasize that, like, that angst, that, like, it's like when you drink coffee, you got energy. That's like that cardinal boost where you're just like, I gotta do something, I gotta do something, I gotta do something. And because the sun is square Mars there, it's gonna make you be very reactive. So be mindful of that energy as well. But also be mindful when it comes to spell work, because you're going to have to tap into that Mars energy. If you are trying to manifest and call something in, do it from your solar plexus. Visualize a red, like, not even, like, visualize fire. And I know that usually with the chakras you have to visualize chakra colors. No, visualize fire itself building from your solar plexus, and just breathe it in. And every time you do a breath, make the fire bigger and bigger and bigger, and do that right before you're about to do your spell work and your intention, and that's going to magnify it like tenfold, trust me. The next one is the sun is in a trine with Neptune, which is in Pisces. Okay, this is going to emphasize spirituality, specifically because Cancer and Pisces are both water signs. Intuition is going to be on point. Okay, so if you are navigating, make sure tomorrow you are, and even today, you are kind of navigating your way through the day intuitively, completely intuitively. Pull back and say, if you know that you need something, or if you know you can't, you shouldn't do something, don't do it. If you know, like, somebody wants you to do something and you're like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna do that, don't do it. Just don't do it. Go through your vibe with it. Be like, okay, if you haven't fully put together what your ritual should look like, or what you want it to look like yet, take the time to pull back and say, okay, what am I feeling? What do I want to do? Like, stretch out, move your body a little bit. Especially with the moon in Capricorn, it's all about the physical body and how you're emotionally connecting to your physical body as well. So just feel your body a little bit. What are you feeling? What do you feel like doing? What do you feel like connecting with? What elements, what tools that you have that you want to connect with and use for this specific ritual? Like, really connect to your intuition. Do some meditations as well. Tonight, I would probably do some prophetic dreaming. That it would be a perfect time to do so, to be quite honest, with the sun trine in Neptune. But it does amplify intuition. It does amplify any spiritual practices that you are doing. So I would start off with yoga. I would start it off with after yoga meditation, probably up to an hour of a meditation. If you're not into that long practice of meditation, I would at least minimum do 30 minutes, and then go through the flow after you come out of yoga. Probably I would say take an hour before you eat, or you can either do like a small fast in the morning and then eat afterwards when you're ready, and then just prepare yourself through the day, nurture yourself through the day, especially like physically. Make sure like you do a spiritual bath when it's time for you to do a spiritual bath before you do your ritual work as well. Just go through the day in like a very ritualistic, like you're just doing your own vibe, following your own thing type of thing, okay? So the next one that we are going to be talking about is the moon squaring Mars. And the reason why this one is really important is because you're emotionally going to be, again, moon in Capricorn, squaring, fighting Mars in Aries. So that's, again, cardinal energy popping off. And so the tricky part with this is that Capricorn tends to be a little bit more goal-oriented, where Aries, it's very like impulsive. So you do want to make sure that you are not, that you're understanding both energies, and then you're not trying to use one over the other. Because that's where you're going to get the friction from. You will have to combine that energy together, even though it can be very difficult, because Aries and Capricorn are very much like opposite signs in many ways. Because Aries just moves faster than Capricorn. Even though Capricorn's a cardinal sign, it's Earth, so it does take time to move. But Aries is like, oh, but I want to do this, but I want it now. Like I want to get it like probably in a week. I want to get it in a month. I don't want to spend like another year trying to strive for this thing. So you have to be mindful of that energy, because it can be conflicting, but it also can lead to some adventurous trips and some adventurous period, especially if that's something that you've been calling into your space in your life. And I know it's been really hard this year because of Corona and everything that's happening. It's hard to like, you know, enjoy the planet right now, but it is something that you're gonna have to go head to head with, like, what is it that you want to do in regards to the next step of your journey, and where you can find comfort throughout those journeys as well, and making sure that you are grounded within aspects of those journeys. So if you're like planning a trip or something for, I don't know, the fall time, you want to start looking at where you're going to be staying, where you're going to have your roots at for the time being, how long you're going to be there for, how much time you're going to spend. So you want to look at the aspects of what Capricorn is and what it stands for, which is time, tradition, grounding, foundations, and Aries, which is impulsive and adventurous and wanting to enjoy life itself and go through the journey of life itself. So just be also aware of that. The moon will be in a very strong trine with Uranus on this. Uranus, which is in Taurus still. And this is, I honestly feel like this is going to bring up a lot of different things, to be quite honest. It is going to emphasize society to an extent. I do feel like because Uranus has been in Taurus for a minute, and all of the Capricorn aspects that are, all the transits that have been happening in Capricorn, you are seeing a lot of things shift within society itself, and Uranus is upgrading the land. It is upgrading the way that we conform to each other, and it's doing that through Taurus. Is doing it through money, is doing it through what we value, what we think is important, and that's why so many things are changing, and you're going to continue to see that, especially when it comes to foundational changes and industrial changes, when it comes to racism, when it comes to how we address people, how we value each other, what diversity looks like, all of these type of themes. Because the moon is in Capricorn, again, highlights that those traditions in society, a lot of it is getting changed. So you're going to continue to see that happening even through the eclipse, and some things will be manifesting through the eclipse as well. So if you do want more social changes, especially with continuing for justice, calling for justice, and the protesting, it's in the chart, and those changes are still taking place. One of the other ones that I wanted to talk to you about, because I'm not going to talk about all of them today, but one of the other ones that I wanted to talk about was, well, three of them. Jupiter is in a very strong conjunction with Pluto for this eclipse, and you're gonna see that there is still a lot of things happening and breaking down in the areas of travel. You're going to see a lot of things breaking down with this, because I know that some policies were pulled back because of the coronavirus. Some of the airlines decided to not skip a seat, all of these type of things, putting more people at risk. You're going to see a lot of the issues coming up with that, especially with Pluto being there. And just that conjunction itself brings a lot of changes, and it also highlights a lot of issues for a lot of these businesses that are trying to cater to making money and not the people. So you're going to also see a lot of changes with that, that come out from this. Also, Saturn is in a strong conjunction with Pluto, and Saturn, which is back in Capricorn right now. Having this strong conjunction with Pluto is really important because it's highlighting a lot of past life work and a lot of karmic issues. And because they're both in retrograde, you're going to see a very, like, a huge highlight of past life work and past life issues. And not only issues from our collective, like, generational influences in past life and how we've all impacted each other in past lives, but also on a personal note. So you do want to take that work on for tomorrow's work. If you don't know about the Akashic Records or doing past life work, I do recommend looking into it. There is disclaimers on it though, because just because you start, like, if you're a newbie witch and you're just gonna start doing past life work, you might find you have a little bit of a hard time doing so, because the Akashic Records can be difficult to access if you're not ready, because the Lords of the Records might just not let you in there. It's kind of, you can think of it as an exclusive library, but it's not. It's just that you have to be ready to heal and understand the information, not just go up there and kind of run wild and free. That's not, it's a library, okay? you will hush and you will speak in hushed tones, okay? But it is a library. You have to treat it with respect. You have to treat the knowledge with respect. So depending on how it is that you want to address the issues that arise from this, you will see that there is a highlight of past life issues. You might have a lot of questions or might have a lot of issues that come up during the eclipse. There is like, you know what? This is generational, especially because it's highlighted by Capricorn energy. It's past life work, it's generational work. It might be even childhood issues that you've had in this lifetime that stem from somewhere. But a lot of it, you might be needing to hold space for you to nurture yourself through that work, through that death work, that transformation work. I do feel like some people need to do some calling back your power type of work and meditations for as well. So please try to think about that before you do any like ritual work and stuff like that, because I do feel like it's important to highlight that energy. Okay. The last one that I wanted to talk about was, hold on, I wrote it down. Oh yes. Really quickly, really quickly. Aries and Lilith. Lilith and Chiron are still in Aries. So because we do have a lot of the Mars squaring off situations, understand that a lot of the darker aspects and a lot of the things that come to a head when you're squaring off is a lot deeper than what it looks like over, like, you know, there's a lot more underneath the surface. So you will have to dig in deeper if you're doing healing work for yourself. You will have to dig in deeper. Any type of insecurity or anytime you please make sure you're paying attention to how you're getting upset, how you're getting mad, or like how you're getting triggered. Anytime you're getting triggered during this eclipse, or even for the next week and a half, please pay attention to how that comes to pass and how you're reacting and what the triggers was. I would recommend you writing those down, because those are things that you're going to actually have to go back and heal, because of the way Aries is. It's the way it's gonna alert you that it is triggering. There's gonna be a fire there, and there's going to be an agitation that you're going to have to address. And so do so with love, but understand that it's coming through fire. Anytime you're feeling a lot of fire, and you're just like upset, or you're angry, or you're reactive and stuff like that, Aries. And that's in Chiron is there. So you're going to have to address it. You're going to have to heal. You're going to have to heal it, period. Please make sure you're looking at your houses and how all of these transits are affecting you personally, so you can actually know what exactly in what house you need to put more of a focus in and more attention to, because this specific reading that we're doing is more for the general masses. It's just the chart itself. So please make sure you're looking at how these things are affecting you personally, so you can address it personally. But definitely be aware of how this energy is affecting us collectively as well. So you're not, you know, talking to someone a little bit, you know, funny and expecting them to not like lash out at you if you're sassing them or something like that, because, you know, sass is in the air. Anyway, so let's just discuss the cards that I pulled for this eclipse particularly. And the I pulled these from the Butterfly Oracle, and it says family changes, welcome anew, and take the next steps now. And I do feel like, because this Capricorn eclipse, Capricorn is very goal oriented. We've talked about it many times on this channel, because you guys know I is a Capricorn. And fun facts, let me just side note y'all for a second. I watched Hamilton yesterday, okay, with Bae and with Pink, and she rolling her eyes at me right now, I don't care, but I watched Hamilton yesterday, and let me tell you about this trifecta situation that's happening. First of all, Hamilton was a Capricorn, okay? Yes, he was the one who created and invented the banking system in the United States, and the reason why the federal government even gives money to the states. Yeah, that was a Capricorn. And then to top that trifecta off, okay, the Hamilton musical play was written, created by a Capricorn, because Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote a whole play, music, lyrics, everything, about a Capricorn. So a Capricorn did all that for a Capricorn, and a Capricorn over here noticed that shit. That's called that's the trifecta right there. Anyway, I just needed to mention that because I thought that was hilarious. And because Lin-Manuel Miranda is such a amazing creator. He's such an amazing creator, and you can tell when a Capricorn is when a Capricorn ends up being a creative mind, how much work they put in and how it becomes such a legacy type of thing. Like the Hamilton tickets were going for like $600 if you wanted to see the show. Like that's how expensive that was. That is the legacy of that show. It won so many awards. It is like just on some other level. He's written so many musicals and stuff, to the point where he's built his career, Capricorn, to the place that if he writes any type of thing, anything, and he wanted to sell tickets for it, there'd be a line outside. Okay, Capricorn shit. Okay, learn from your fellow Capricorns. Legacy. That's what it's about. This moon, think about your legacy. Think about what you are welcoming, what steps you're going to take to manifest your legacy, how you want that to evolve, how you want others to see to take part of your legacy as well, how you want others to experience it, not just you, because there's a difference between you just experiencing it, but Capricorn energy always ends up impacting other people every single time. Okay, the reason why we have the light bulb from a Capricorn, okay? Y'all all use it. Every time you turn on the light, it's a Capricorn, okay? This is what I'm saying. You got to pay attention to what it is you're manifesting, and at the same time understand that there is a collective impact that will come from those intentions as well. So please, please, please think about what new intentions, what new thing are you trying to ground yourself in your root chakra meditations for this particular eclipse. Highlighted, 1000% highlighted. You need to do them during, either before yoga, while you're meditating, whatever. Definitely before the fire that I just told you, meditation that you should be doing before you do your intentions. But you should be doing a grounding root chakra meditation for this particular eclipse, because it will help you solidify these intentions that you're trying to call in the first place. And then make sure once you set those intentions that you're actually taking the steps to set yourself up to manifesting those intentions. Now, family changes came up, and I'm not really surprised that this came up, because over here, wife, mother, daughter, sister, and also nurture yourself came up, and I'm not really surprised that the family changes came up, because we're still in what? Cancer season, and Cancer is all about family. 4th house, family. Okay. That's actually really funny, because I'm actually spending the day with Bae's family today. But yes, it's a very family oriented sign and energy, and because the sun is still in Cancer, we're still going to highlight that family dynamic. So please make sure you are aware of how you are connecting to your family during this time, how you are you know, addressing any family dynamics and like how you're talking to your family members. Are you annoyed at somebody? Are you, you know, reacting to somebody? Are you hearing any type of gossip that's making you trigger and be like, oh, what did you say? You heard, I mean, I heard you said this about XYZ, you talking about my mama? Like all of these type of things. Make sure you are understanding any type of family dynamic, because it's gonna feel a little bit like Thanksgiving type of energy when people like come together and have like a little bit of a, you know, y'all know what I'm talking about. The other cards that we have, I pulled a couple of different ones from the Flowers of the Dead Oracle. We have forgiveness and sacrifice. We have caution and wisdom, because it's still a very intuitive time. And we have abundance and earth, because of course the abundance will come in if you work with it correctly. Yes. Now, forgiveness and sacrifice comes hand in hand with this family changes situation, because a lot of our issues, especially childhood issues, childhood trauma, stem from not having forgived the person and just released that energy and sacrificed that energy and said, universe, take this from me because I cannot carry it no longer. I do not carry it no longer. I am forgiving. I am releasing. I am nurturing myself, and I am going to release this energy because this is not mine. I don't need this. So I'm letting it go. So it's really, really important to highlight that throughout your ritual as well. If you have not forgive, but then you're trying to call in, you're trying to hold on to stuff and then call more stuff into your space, that's not going to happen. Make sure you're doing releasing before you actually, especially during your spiritual bath, release that shit. Release it, because it'll help you in attracting the abundance. That's the connection there. So please make sure that you are tapping into that. Again, your intuition, you have to work with your intuition specifically for this, especially through your ritual. That's what I'm saying. Dictate your ritual through your intuition. Make sure you're listening to yourself, your body, what it's telling you, and don't kind of trip up on the maybes, ifs, and whats, and maybe so's. No. Just listen to your intuition. If your intuition is saying, oh, you're still mad about this, do some releasing work before you call in what you want, period. Now, you see how we also got persistence. The cards that I pulled out from the After Tarot are the King of Swords, the Seven of Wands, and Judgment. And I'm not really surprised about this, because again, their family dynamics are taking a huge play on this. If you've been mad at your dad because he wasn't there for you, if you've been mad at your aunt because of the way she was talking about your mother, if you've been mad at your sister because she stole money from you, whatever it is, y'all need to address it. Y'all need to judge the situation better. Y'all need to move from a higher place with this. Y'all need to forgive. Y'all need to come back to this very like centered air energy, where you're just like, okay, I am deciding to release this energy. I must be like air. I must be liberated from this energy, because I can't continue to stay and entertain this type of chaotic mess. So there is this kind of addressing the energy and judging the situation at hand. Also, this brings the energy of the ancestors. So if you thought that you weren't going to have to do ancestor work on a Cancer sun and a Capricorn moon energy, you wrong. Please make sure your ancestor work is on the money for tomorrow. Please hold space for them. I would give them some food, honestly. And if you are having to heal generational trauma tomorrow, that is another level. And I feel like that's something that some people might have to do for this particular eclipse as well. Now, the planetary energies that we got for this particular eclipse goes as follows. Aries, because what did I say about Chiron? That's gonna be creeping. I'm telling you, it's gonna creep up on you. Anytime if you're upset at any point during today to the next week and a half, you're gonna have to look at this. You're gonna have to look at this energy and why and how you got triggered, and trace it back. Please do that self-work. The sun, because of course, sun is still in Cancer. We have Jupiter, because Jupiter is in Capricorn. So the way things are happening, there is an explosive aspect to the energy, especially with Jupiter here, because Jupiter, again, it's going to help with the abundance part, but it can also at the same time expand this type of energy. okay? The forgiveness type of energy. Like, you have a lot of forgiving to do. You have a lot of that work to do before you call in the abundance that you so seek. So just be mindful of the way this energy right here is highlighted for you, because it can be a blessing, or you could just be doing a lot of healing work tomorrow. The last planetary energy that will be affecting us is air, and I'm not really surprised about this because the North Node is in Aries. In Gemini. So just be mindful. We're trying to come out of this clear and with direction. This is why the King of Swords showed up for us. We're trying to come out clear, cleansed, light as air. You want to be as much close to an air sign as you possibly can. I would work a lot with your air elements actually for this particular eclipse as well, because it's gonna keep you above water. And when you're combining this Cancer season with Capricorn moon, you are getting the things that grow from these things are seeds. These seeds grow into trees. Trees create oxygen. It creates air. You want to have clarity, peace, calm, just wins. That's it. You don't want anything chaotic. You don't want to have to use a sword and kill somebody. You don't want none of that. You just want to keep it nice, breezy, lemon squeezy, okay? And that is it. Those are the messages for this eclipse. I hope that you guys used energies well. I hope that you get to work with this and have a lot of abundance and a lot of positivity come out of this particular eclipse. Please make sure you're doing the work, because listen, if you sleep on this eclipse, you're gonna have a really hard time getting through the rest of the year. That's all I'm gonna say. I will see you guys in the next video. Do not forget to check the Patreon, because we're always learning and growing over there. And yeah, I will definitely see you guys in the next video, which should be coming up very, very soon. I might upload something tomorrow if I stop doing, my ritual work, because it's gonna be a very intense, powerful day for me, because yeah, I know I'm a Capricorn. So side note, don't forget to apply for jobs, and especially if you're trying to manifest a job opportunity, Capricorn moons are great for that. So I just had to throw that in there because I think I forgot to mention it earlier. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.